Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Hope you're doing well. Today we're going to get into land strategies as well as midnight tokens, talking about black foils and why I'm trying to position or how I'm trying to position myself within this next moment for Splinterlands. So if that sounds interesting, stick around. Otherwise, maybe check out the next video. Let's get into it. Midnight potions are here. Aura labs are here. As we come over to the land within Splinterlands and we look at my production, we can see my different regions. I have some in 10 and 23. In my 23, I have some magical plots. So I arranged by type. I got natural with the green, and then I've got 3 of the magical types. And so the magical types get 100% bonus on. It says 100 magical plots receive 100% production bonus to SPS research and to Aura Labs, because that's part of the research window. So I turned in all 3 of these into Aura Labs, and I want to talk about why and how much production I'm making, and then how many potions that's going to equate to, and is that enough? Okay, so let's get into that. So I got 2 rares and 1 common, and it is 3 of 38 plots. Like, it's a small fraction of what I'm doing. It's like less than 10% of my total plot count. But they're pretty good plots. I mean, 2 of them are rare, and they're all receiving 100% bonus, which is nice. And I have a lot of good cards. So, I mean, maybe not like best of the best, but these are some really like pretty strong productions. So let's zoom in on 033 here, one of my rare plots. I've already built it. I used time crystals. I spent 7 cents per time crystal times 50 time crystals equates to what? Let's quickly do the math. 50 time crystals, and it was about 7.5 cents, or a little bit less. Actually, that's not right. 0.075. That's 7.5 US cents per time crystal, 375, and I did that 3 times. Give or take 10 cents, 20 cents. That's what I paid. Okay, and so on this tundra land, which is 033, we already made it using time crystals. And let's come in here and manage. We're making 40.136 aura per hour. It costs 40 aura to make 1 black foil potion, or midnight potion rather. And so I can make 24 a day, give or little more than give 24 a day. And I'll calculate all the math in a moment, but I just want to show you the cards that I'm using, because these cards are no joke. You know, these are some substantial cards. You know, a max level alpha goblin sorcerer. I got a Minotaur warlord maxed out. I got, you know, a clay golem. Shout out to Matt, by the way. Nago warrior and electric eels. Okay, so I mean, these are like relatively strong productions, and as you can see, the points are substantial, but they are being doubled. That's a doubling based on the production from the magical. So one quick note, if you're doing this, really the magical plots are the only option. I mean, why would you forego that 100% bonus? I know if we come to the market, not that this is exactly a strategy guide, but I want to talk you through where my head is at on this, like, and why I do think it is worth it. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. But is it worth it for you to rush out and copy me? I don't know. You know, it depends on a lot of things, like your long-term perspective about land, for instance. But as we come in here and you look at magical plots on the marketplace, you know, they started at 37 bucks. That one just popped on 7 minutes ago, and they've been 38 bucks for the last few months. So I think anything under this window, which Wolf posted 3 months ago, has been being bought up pretty much. And I think that'll probably continue. My observations of land have been that this moment, as well as land points at 175, have really added to the demand for land. And so just as a side note on that, to further prove that point, the keeps were selling for $888. I saw 3 or 4 of them at one time on the market 2 weeks ago, probably 2 weeks ago. And I was strongly considering purchasing 1, maybe 2 of them. And now $1,500 is the floor on keeps. And so that's just one example. I do think this is drawing a greater attention, and I don't think Aura Labs is the end. And I don't think Land 1.75 is the end, which is, so one of the questions is, are you like me, confident where land is going, because that's going to be a foundational conversation on whether you would ever want to replicate what I'm doing. But yeah, magical at minimum, and these are common would be fine. Like I'm only getting a 10% extra bonus with a rare. So, who cares if it's rare versus common? Just get a common magical. If of course you can, if you get the dollars to go in deep and go magical legendaries, sure, with the best cards, okay. But like that's not most of our stories, and yet you're going to see by the end of this video, my Aura Labs are making significant potions. And so, yes, we've got some pretty expensive cards. Nowadays you can rent them because you're going to rent them for the full season. On this plot, I do actually think that's rented and that's rented. I think 3 or 4 of these cards is rented, and you can control it to say don't use my rented cards. In this one plot, I didn't do that, and so I'm actually pretty sure 3 or 4 of those cards is rented, and that's 40 aura per hour. And so my second plot in 77 is doing even better, 43 aura per hour. And on this one, I actually made a point of clicking on the button which disallows rented cards. I'm not using delegated or rented cards on this. These are my cards. I have an alpha lightning dragon, which I bought a while ago when I thought like I thought it was a really great deal. To be honest, I don't know if the market has thus far proved me right in that, but nevertheless, I bought it. And so I've got a really productive unit right there, 31,500 PP on that one. Then we got the Kraken, which is a great card, and man, I could use more Krakens. Pirate Archer, great card. Skeletal Warrior and Battle Orc. I love all these cards actually. These are old cards, but they still have a lot of functionality in Wild, obviously, and all of them. And yet, right now with Aura Labs, and I think for the foreseeable future, I need to be building this bag of midnight potions. To me, this is not just a conversation about getting ready for the release on May 13 or May 12 of the openings for Conclave Arcana. It's a bigger picture of just being sustainable, across time with packs. Because our community has talked about how the packs are going to be openable and desirable for the entire duration of the sale, because the black foils, the gold foil arcanes, the black foil arcane cards in the Conclave Arcana set are going to translate to more and more packs being sold toward the middle and the end of these sales. That's my expectation, but I do think that's a objective fact. I don't think it's a subjective interpretation of the information, because those black foils and gold foil arcanes and black foil arcanes are going to become, the number of them is going to be, the release number is going to be known. The ones that haven't been released is going to be known. That's going to, the number of packs is going to shrink. All that is going to lend toward more and more people recognizing the opportunity within a closing window. And I think that's going to produce more sales, which is going to mean, and I'm going to want to be part of that, meaning buying packs along the duration of the sale, not just at the beginning during pre-sale. And if that's accurate, I want to have black foil potions for all of them, for every pack and for the whole time. And so that's a bit of my head comes from too. It's not just I believe in land. It's not just I want to have these cards long term, but it's also I want to have these midnight potions in abundance, because I do think there's going to be an opportunity throughout the Conclave sale, not just at the beginning. Okay, so we got 40 on the first one, 43 on the second, and we're using for some pretty serious cards. And on the final location, which is a 20028, it's a common, and we're doing 29.85 on that one. And if we come in here and manage, I'm less of the 10% bonuses, because I'm using for instance, a Pit Ogre, a Beta Pit Ogre, which is a fire. I'm using Octopiter, which is a death. I'm using Fire Spitter, which is a dragon, and Urace neutral, and then the Etten Spearman, which is another fire. None of these are getting the 10% bonuses associated with the land, like the best cards, the best splinter for the land. Fire, death, dragon, neutral are not seeing direct bonuses on this set, and yet they were my better cards for this place. And as you can see, 12,000, these are still substantial. Of course, the DEC requirements are quite large for some of these cards. I don't care. That's the other piece too. What do you feel about DEC being sunk into land? That's another question mark on when you're exploring whether this is worth it. And forget about just Aura Labs for a moment. understanding like working land requires a real substantial DEC sink. I have 456,000 DEC on this region of land. That's 500, or it's 450 US dollars that I have locked into the land. Now, it's still mine. It's not going to be spent. It doesn't get eroded. It's not going to disappear, but it's committed. It's locked up. It can't be spent in other ways. That's a cost in the sense that it doesn't allow me to go and do other things with it. There's an expense to that restriction. It restricts what I can do, and therefore that is a loss. That loss could be considered an expense or a cost at minimum. And so, even though it doesn't, my number will stay stable. And in some ways, I think of this as a savings account across the years. As I build and build and build my land out, which I will, I'm going to see that DEC number grows and grows and grows. And it might be a case where one day I've got 20 grand in DEC, 50 grand locked up in DEC. That's a savings account. That's a retirement account for a lot of people, and myself included. And I do think that number is going to go up. Although recently it went down from $1 million to this point because Conclave Arcana, preparation for that. And so yeah, some of these cards require higher DEC commitments, and they provide lower PP payouts. But not everybody has everything, and so you gotta try to make it work. So again, if I show you 20, if I break out the numbers here, 29. Let's just go easy numbers on the calculator. For my 3 plots, we're going. I think it was, call it 30 from the lowest one per hour. Plus it was 43 plus 40. Those are that's how much aura I'm making per hour. And we go times 24, and then we go divided by, that's per day. I'm making 2712 aura per day. And then we have to divide by 40, which is the amount of aura per potion. So this is 67.8 potions per day. 67.8. If we just go 68, and we go time 68 potions per day across those 3 plots, and we can times that by 13, because May 12 is the opening day, I believe, but I won't be able to check in until the 13th. And so we go 884 potions is what I'm going to personally be able to make. 884 potions. And that's between now and and May 13th, when I'm going to be able to check in on these things. Okay, so is that enough? I mean, is that enough? 884, even if you called it 1,000, just to give yourself easy math, like, and say, there's 5 cards per pack, and you want 1 midnight potion per card in the pack. You need 5 midnight potions per pack. And so even if I said I had 1,000 potions, which I just showed you I don't, or I won't, that would be 200 packs that I could open with optimizing my midnight potion output or utilization. Yeah, I can drop it on my alchemies, and I can drop it on my legendaries. And that's 40 plots. And I guess I'm gonna have to use the leftovers on my regulars. But man, it's really important to think this stuff through, guys. If you have land or don't have land, if you're opening Conclave and you recognize the significance of this moment with the black foils and the gold foil arcanes and the BFAs, man, those are going to carry a very huge price. A huge price. I think the black foils on the common level are going to start around the $100 mark. Start for like the bad ones. Start for a black foil common that you're going to pull out of one of your packs. It's just going to be you're going to open your pack and you're just going to pull out a black foil card worth $100. And that's the cheapest of the cheap in my minds. This is speculation, but I do think I've really thought this through, and I don't necessarily want to justify my numbers right now, but I think $100 is probably the minimum. And I think it goes up from there. Like, I think those comments could be, a lot more than that if they're really exceptional comments, for instance. And that's not saying anything about the rares or the epics or the legendaries. And it's not even, that's black foils, not the GFAs or the BFAs. Those are the next levels up that are going to be more and more scarce, and correspondingly more and more expensive. I think honestly, the black foil arcanes, which are the top tier of these, could be, 5 figures. I really think that some of these one of ones are going to be so good and so scarce that they're going to be so desirable within a community of collectors that those price points are they're going to boggle minds. Like, it's going to change lives. It's going to blow people away. And if I'm right about any of that, then these potions are so valuable. It's just they double the chance of pulling black foil cards from Conclave Arcana packs. And these potions cannot be used with starter packs. Of course, they can't be used with starter packs. But that's so meaningful. And I think, the valuations, like, you can just rip the packs and you're going to get maybe some if you're really lucky, but to double your percentage on the black foils is really, really substantial. And I think most people are going to want to use them even on their standard packs. But the question that I just showed you with some pretty strong cards, and hundreds of dollars with sunken DEC and pre-existing, magical plots, all of which, would be hard to ramp up today. You'd have to spend to do what I did today to follow me by the time you see this video. You're going to have to buy $150 worth of land. You're going to have to sink $150 worth of DEC. You're going to have to, rent or buy or already own, is it $2,000 worth of cards? Maybe. And none of those are lost. Like, the plot of land isn't burnt up, or the DEC doesn't disappear and the cards are yours forever. But you still have to have them, and that's a expense in the sense you can't allocate those resources in another way once you commit to this. But the question really has to be, how important are midnight cards? How important are black foils? How expensive do you expect them to be? Do you want to rip conclave packs? Is this set for you, or are you skipping and waiting for the next one? Because I think this is too important, man. I think in this moment, with Splinterlands being where it is at, with SPS being where it is at, and DC, there is real opportunity here. This is a significant moment. We've gone up substantially in the last 60 or 90 days. DC is close to peg. And I do think, although we've seen a slowing down on Conclave, I do think there's reason to be confident that as the pre-sale wraps toward an end, what's going to happen? Are people just going to roll over on the leaderboard? Like, look at the leaderboard. Things have slowed down, let's say. There's been a steady buying. First 24 hours, there was 750 million DEC spent, or $750,000 was spent in the first 24 hours. It might even have been 850. So we've only kind of trickled since then in the last few days. But do you think that's the end of it? Like, are we done with this pre-sale, attention, the efforts? I mean, no way. There is too much value, and there's too much ego, and there's too much there's too much of a collector audience still remaining for people like these guys, Cryptomancer, Brave Tofu, Matt. I know for a fact Abe Brockman has deeper pockets than this. I know YGG is not done. These people are looking to position themselves well. They are jockeying on the leaderboard. And so are many of these people. So are, Azarcon's in there. I know that he's not particularly concerned about getting one of these, but at the same time, yeah, I mean, these names aren't done. Jeff opens cards. Ole Bulls, let's go. These people aren't done. Bulldog, he said, maybe I could. It depends. That'd be cool if he was to get another card created. So these people aren't done, and the jockeying isn't finished, and therefore the spending isn't over. But there will be a lull in the middle here, because there's no necessary reason to throw all your cards right now. Like, if you throw down 50 million DC today and position yourself in such a way on the leaderboard, it doesn't guarantee you anything. In fact, it makes you a target for others, and they might just come ahead and snipe you later. And so for all those reasons, and for all that excitement, and for the posture of the tokenomics, as well as how great some of these conclave cards are, as well as those black foils and the GFAs and the BFAs, this is too exciting for me not to care about black foil or midnight potions. And one last thing on this before we close: the midnight potions are selling for like 10 cents right now, 12 cents. Last night, they were selling immediately for like 20 cents. This number will come down. Will it come down to 5 cents? I don't know. Is it possible to buy these potions for cheaper than activating land in all the ways that I just showed you I've done? Maybe. The question is going to depend on when you're paying attention to the marketplace. I do think the opportunity for midnight potions can come in more likely today or over the next 3, 4, 5 days, meaning they'll be the cheapest, they'll be cheaper than they later will be. My expectation would be on these prices continue to decline, the midnight potions specifically, price decline until we're a few days away from being able to open packs. And then people are going to come late and they're going to start buying these because they recognize how many they need. And they're going to hear more content creators talk about how meaningful these are. And we're going to have a better idea which cards are in the Conclave. And wow, wouldn't it be crazy to get that card if in a black foil version. And all of that's going to lead towards attention toward the end and price spiking. And then I would think toward after the sale is open and after most people have already acquired the midnight potions they want or ripped the packs that they want, I would expect these midnight potion prices to decline again, because these are predictable waves or moments that you can anticipate sort of how normal people will react. I guess that's all it is. It's just predicting crowd behavior. So I am expecting the price to decline. I'm expecting it to be volatile. I'm expecting it to be higher than it is now also at different moments. But I don't really know if I could, like if I was to buy 1,000 of these potions, if I was to buy 1,000 of these potions for 10 cents, and it looks like I couldn't even do that. I could buy 100 potions, but let's just say I could, if I bought this whole window, it's like 200 potions. That's not enough. That's not even like scratching the surface for me. If I wanted like real substantive, we're up to 20 cents. If I want anywhere near, we're in the 30-cent range. Like this is probably only 500 and I'm already in the 30-cent range. 500 potions is what I could probably buy here. If I was to, 500 potions is probably what I could buy here. If I bought the whole market. There's only a few big items. There's 100 there for 10 cents. There's 39 there for 10 cents or 11 cents. 60 for 19 cents. 25 for 20 cents. There really isn't like a ton of these potions that exist or that are being offered on the marketplace. 28 cents for 100. And so are we preparing ourselves to have access to these or not? In my opinion, the only way to do it is to prepare for myself, what I need for myself. And if I end up selling some extras, fine. If long term I end up getting a massive bag of black foil or midnight potions, fine. I don't need to move these. I don't have to move these. I don't need to see ROI on my land. I'm not expecting sort of APRs to be, I didn't position myself in some radical way overnight because I, think something just radically changed. I am pointing towards ongoing change in Splinterlands and in land. I'm excited about where we're going, not across days, weeks, months, but a long term. And I think all of this points towards that. And so I hope it's clear that while I'm excited about Conclave, land 1.75, ultimately items and spells from, grow as the land element and experience grows and grows and grows. This moment is, I think, in many ways special. And I don't want to be left behind. I think at minimum, every person who rips an alchemy or legendary pack needs to have all of the required black foil potions. I think it'd be really silly not to have those. Spend $12 or $24 on a pack and not have the five midnight potions that you need. And with the regular packs, man, it seems really like a bad idea to leave that on the table. If you can double your odds and you don't take it, that seems like a real mistake. The regular packs are supposed to be 4,000, equates to one black foil. You don't want to make that 2,000 in one, like 2,000 packs equals one. To me, guys, this is a no-brainer. These are deeply important, and I don't really believe most of you are taking it seriously. I know that there are many people that are active on X that are saying how many aura they're making or how many midnight potions they're going to produce. But the question isn't, are there 50 vocal people doing this or 100 vocal people doing this? The question is, are there enough for those who will rip? And if they don't get them, what will that do to the odds for you as you rip? Because more and more packs open. If they're not using midnight potions, their odds decline. Fewer get produced with a large number of packs. 4,000 in one, right? 1 in 4,000 packs will open of a regular, unless they use the potions. So if tons of people don't use those, I think that changes some production and predictive odds for those who do. It really does. And so it's exciting. And I'm excited about Splinterlands, and I hope you are too. So if you are, maybe subscribe to the channel. Stick around. Okay, have an amazing day. Bye for now.